Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight I got another good broadcast for you. We're going to do the second chapter 2 of the Tree Dwellers, the Conquering of the Dragon. So tonight we're going to review that other story about the giants. This is all about the giants, and they were living in trees, etc., etc. If you haven't watched the first part, check it out. It was pretty good. But tonight we're going to do the Conquering of the Dragon. So just let me get the share button here, and I'm going to click the share, and you can all see that. So now look at what we got there. I hope you all like that. There, I'm going to blow it up so you can see it a little bit better, and we're going to do this. Okay. As you can see, the Conquering of the Dragon, Chapter 2. As time passed on, the giants gradually lost their dread of the great red-tongued dragon. Sometimes they would find just a little spot of this mysterious red demon that seemed to have no substance in itself, but the power to consume and destroy other substances that came in its pathway. These giants were very curious, and they grew bolder and bolder until finally they would approach the young demon and watch it as it consumed some old tree, for it seemed to be especially fond of trees. They found that they could gather around it without the danger to themselves, and by experimenting another particular trait of these giants, they found they could feed the demon with limbs and boughs of the trees, and that it would grow, but that it could not eat stones or dirt, and the water would kill it. They soon found that in the evening this demon destroyer would give forth a wonderful light that wild beasts were afraid of the light and would not approach it, and that in the chilly evenings it would send out a warm and ruddy glow that was very pleasant to be nearby. They also found that when it had no trees and branches upon which to feed, it died, and they were sorry that it was gone, for it was only once in a very long time that they found this demon, this wonderful consuming red mouth without any body, that could eat up whole trees and even, okay, I got to flip the page, even forests. And instead of growing larger afterwards, it would entirely cease to exist. Finally, they lost their fear for the demon, so much so as to hunt for it. And when they found it, they learned to wall it in with stones and dirt, which you could not eat, and feed it through with bows, and thus keep it alive for weeks and months and years. And they lost their fear also of the beast at night, and came down out of the treetops and slept near the fire. For the great red-mouthed demon was nothing more than fire kindled by lightning or spontaneous combustion. And as these giants came to understand the fire, how to feed it and control it and destroy it if they wished, and how to keep them warm and protected them from their ancient enemies, the beast and the snakes, they learned to worship the fire, and they believed it came from the great fiery ball in the heavens above. And they built altars of stone on which they kept the fire constantly burning, and selected certain of their tribe to tend the altars, that the fire might never go out. If the fires went out in their hearts, their places of stone and dirt, where they congregated at night to sleep, their homes as it were, they could go to the altars and pluck a burning branch and replenish it. And those who were selected to tend the altar fires eventually became very powerful. While the others were out hunting for food, the altar tenders had time to think, and they worked out great ideas about the wonderful fire. God, who could banish the demon of darkness and bring light and warmth and joy, the God who protected the giants and their children from the wild beast. And as these tenders of the altar fires had to live and had no way of going out and getting their living for them, I got to turn the page. And there you go. There's your giants. Woohoo! They're burning themselves. It wasn't a dragon. It was a fire. Themselves, they planned ways in which the other giants would bring them food as an offering to the god of fire. And these altar tenders finally, from their association with the fire and from their teachings about the fire and about themselves, came to be considered as sacred and holy beings in direct communication with the fire god. And these altar keepers told the other giants wonderful stories, for these giants were gifted with imagination, and they also dreamed dreams and gathered them together at certain times and taught them to go through certain customs that they said would please the god of fire. And these altar keepers taught the people that they must fear and worship the god of fire and must hate and destroy the snake, who became the devil, the personification of evil, the most despised and dreaded of living creatures. Oh, let's see. I guess this might be the end of it. The following resolution was presented by Comrade D. M. Lackey of local Bridgeport, Connecticut, on a local meeting against well, I guess that's the end of the story. So, unless there's another part to it. I don't think that's it. And this is talking about more Billy Goats on the 60s. Okay, well, I guess this is this was just this old book I found with that story in it. There was only a couple chapters in it, and this is some of that book. So there's really not much else in here. The Billy Goat platform. It was just an old book with some yeah. So anyway, the Billy Goat magazine. I don't know where it came from. How to live there was some really good ones in the back of the book. How to live 100 years. For 75 cents or 50 cents, this book teaches people how to live right and thus make the doctor with his pills and dope bottles unnecessary. For good wit and good logic and common sense, and will save the price in 1 week and decrease cost of living to anyone who reads it. Besides adding more vigor and life and energy, must be read and appreciated. Yep, How to Live 100 Years. For 75 cents, you can live 100 years. Skip the doctor bills. Oh, giant censored tools. We probably should get the story but I'm sure these books are out there, but they're out of print now. So there you go, people. Let's see. I don't think there was any other stories in here. Yeah, this is the whole thing. Billy Goat. There's the cover of the book. That's where I found it. And this is the whole thing. It was just a short little, in this writing a Lockwood's movie. Anyway, he talks about unity and socialism. It's kind of a socialism book. That's what I kind of figured out. It talks about Karl Marx, believe it or not. Yeah. It's kind of weird. So there you go. That's what people were reading back in early. Let's see, when was this? This book was made June 13th, or June 1913. Sorry, excuse me. So in 1913, you would have been reading about. People would have been buying this in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they were buying this book called The Billy Goat, and it was all about. It had socialism. Because look, if you look here, see, look at this is all good. But then when you start getting really into it, it starts talking about the psychological condition in capitalistic state. And I didn't even know this. I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff was here way back in the day. If you can see that. He muster spare, blah, blah, blah. It's not the addition of a few notes. It's so right back then they were trying to promote whereas comrade is pitted against comrade. Where do you hear comrade from? I wonder where, people. And it just goes on. So these people were talking and see socialists themselves. They're not know that wanted to, So anyway, I don't even know. The socialist movement is not confined to the Socialist Party. There are many forces working towards the revolution. And it is my contradiction that all of these forces can be united in action against the common enemy. Well, so that's where they started. They started way back in the day, believe it or not, unifying of the socialist movement. See, the mere addition to the SS members to the rank of the Socialist Party, a matter of the soul. I did not know this when I got this little book. I thought, oh my gosh, I got this cool little book with a good story in it. And it talks about here unifying the socialist movement into oneness. So we have been trying to split the gnarled and knotted old lock off of capitalism with a mighty blunted wedge. Oh, my goodness, people. Were you losing your minds way back then? Come on. It's been infiltrating us for 100 years, people. So you get to the back of the book. This is where I really figured it out. And we're going to skip way to the back. And, it's talking about this. I think it's way back here. And it talks about this, blah, blah, blah. Good health, socialism conditions. See, it's like one of those things. It's like a thing in disguise. It was a cool book in disguise, and it really gets you going. And then you go, oh my God, this is from Karl Marx. See, it says socialist attention. They want to make you socialist. Look at that, for 25 cents for an annual subscription. Jeez, they were recruiting socialists way back in the day. See, socialism and Rooseveltism. Without reading one of the standard socialist books, our publication house, 25,000 socialists. Well, wow, this is just a really interesting book, people. It was, it really opened my eyes that this stuff has been around for a long time, and we just been oblivious to it. It's been creeping in our system for decades. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that because I know y'all don't want to just see that all day. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story. The story was good. It intrigued me. And then the rest of it was this book that talked about socialism. And I was like floored because I'm thinking in 1913, they were passing out books and charging for them too, 75 cents, which was a fortune back then. Because in 1913, how much did you make in wages? 75 cents was a hefty wage. And to make that whatever spending on a book that talks about socialism, well, and to think that they were trying to promote that way back then when everybody thought that we were free, we were capitalists and all that. So look at where you are today, look in the mirror, look around you and say, has it finally creeped in? Well, anyway, bring back freedom. That's all I can say. And do your best, spread the love and do what you can. Remember, everyone, we're all in this. And if you want to be the frequency you want to receive, go out there and spread some love. Okay? Have a good night. Peace, everybody.